Hello wine lovers and the wine curious. Today I'm getting into a lineup of crushable wines for spring. But before I do, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed, because when you do, I get to share more of this passion of wine with more wine fans. So click right down below to subscribe. All right, let's get into it. Spring is here. Maybe it doesn't feel like it where you are, but it does where I am. So I am sipping on some delicious spring wines. Each and every one of these is quaffable, special bottles that really make you feel like spring is here. So let's embrace the spring season. Give me 10 minutes of your time and I will tell you how these bottles taste and why we should be drinking them for spring. This is your 10-minute tasting. Fun wine fact, sangria originated in Spain. And while there are a lot of different variations on house styles, it was always a rule to make it with red wine. Now, the history of sangria is far more complex than that, but bottled sangria can only come from Spain and Portugal nowadays. And we can all agree that sangria sings spring. So it's a perfect one to be drinking right now. This is the Lolea #1 Red Sangria. Let's get into this. First off, look at this beautiful red color. It matches the bottle so perfectly. Let's get into the aromas. What I love about sangria is that orangey, almost marmalade-y aroma with cherries, and it just feels like there's such fresh fruit aromas and flavors in here, and a touch of spice. You need that little balance there. Let's get on to the palate. You know, there's a bit of frizzante to this, a little bit of bubbles, but lots of fruit concentration. Cherries, raspberries, strawberries, oranges, lemons. I can keep going on because it's just kind of layering on the palate as you swallow. You have a really lovely finish that's just a touch sweet, but not much more than that. This is a perfect wine that I could be enjoying on my patio, watching the sun, and just having a great weekend with. If you're gonna have a red sangria, then why not have a white as well? This is the Lolea #2 White Sangria. And aren't these bottles just so cute together? With some flowers and these bottles on the table, you have a perfect spring setting. So let's get into this sangria. It's also made in Spain. We have this beautiful, almost straw-toned color, and you can see the bubbles right away. So we're in for another frizzante. This one is a blend of Chardonnay and Merlot. So let's get into the aromas. You know, it's so fun because you have tons of citrus in this. You have a little bit of lemon, lime, white raspberry, white strawberry, all of these really fun notes, and also like this almost like ginger ale, cola-y vibe too, that really kind of showcases what you're in for. Let's get on to the palate. On the palate, the fruit notes keep coming again. White strawberry, white raspberry, white cherry even. Lots and lots of fun citrus notes in there, even a little bit of grapefruit, and a lovely finish. Again, just a touch sweet. This is gonna go perfect with some snacks. Like I want some spicy nuts or like a little bit of nibbles to go with this as I'm sitting out on the patio. Canadian Vineyards make some truly stellar Chardonnays, which are perfect for spring. And we are going to the Okanagan Valley with this wine. We're in British Columbia, and this is from Quails Gate Winery. They're one of the original fixtures making wine out west. Their 2022 Chardonnay is crafted with a light hand from vines that are more than 30 years old. So let's get into this bottle right away. Such a beautiful color. You really get this like straw-toned wine with gold inflections in it. But let's get on to the aromas. Apricot, little bit of apple in there, honeysuckle, some nutty notes. I could nose this for quite a long period of time. But let's get on to the palate. What I love about BC Chardonnay is that you get this intense minerality and acidity, but it blends with these like crisp apple notes, little bit of bitter nut on the palate too. Quite a complex wine that's made for food. I am having this with like a brie and avocado sandwich. You can throw some chicken in there if you'd really like to. I love seeing this acidity interact with something creamy and making a perfect pairing. Spring is a great time to fire up the grill again. We just exited winter. It's time to be cooking outdoors. And you know what's great with that? A bottle of wine to pair with it along the way. This is the Casa Santos Lima Confidencial Reserva, and it's a beautiful, sophisticated wine that also is really affordable as well. We're going to Portugal, we're in Lisboa with this, and we're getting a blend of 10 different grape varietals coming together to create this wine. So let's get into the color right away. This is a 2017 vintage, and I can see that there's a little bit of rustic tones. A little hard to see when you're swirling it up in the air, but you can tell that aging is happening. Let's get on to the aromas. There are some beautiful berry, plummy tones in here. Lots of dark fruits, but you also have this like earthy, savory vibe that's coming in. Almost sun-dried tomatoes and tomato leaf coming together. It's a whole meal within its aromas in and of itself, but let's get on to the palate. This is such a delicious wine. It has a really great acidity. It's making me salivate so much, I really have to keep swallowing to keep talking to you all. But there's some really great notes in here. We have some tart cherry, some more savory notes coming in. This is just a good grilling wine. I can imagine this with grilled mushrooms, grilled eggplant, even some corn, or some hamburgers and hot dogs too. Absolutely delicious. The Marchesi di Barolo, La Tradizione Barolo, is an absolutely exquisite wine. It is made from 100% Nebbiolo grapes from selected vineyards in Barolo, Monforte, Castiglione Falletto, and La Mora. And I have to say, when I think of Italian wines for spring, I always think of Barolo, and you'll get that once we get to the aromas. But let's start off with the color. You know, Barolo is very deceiving. I could see my hand right through the glass. There's almost a bricky tone to this color of wine. It's a 2019, but Barolo is deceiving like that. Let's get on to the aromas. And this is what I mean about spring. There is roses, potpourri, violets, and red flowers in here. It honestly reminds me of my mother's garden when I was a kid, but there's more than that in the glass. Beautiful cherry and raspberry and savory notes really come together to create the aromas of this wine. Let's get on to the palate. Truly an exquisite and elevated wine. Barolo is all about lots of acidity and very high gripping tannins, which is exactly what I'm feeling, but you get these beautiful savory notes, lots of spices, lots of earthiness. They're really coming together between the nose and the palate. This is the wine to return to alfresco dining in the spring and bring out your best. You can have a nice charcuterie board, a great steak. This is the wine to enjoy with it. This lineup of Crushable spring wines is filled with bottles for every relaxing moment to come as we get into some warmer weather. But I have to ask all of you, is there a spring go-to wine that you enjoy? Don't forget to leave your comments right down below. And also, if you check out the caption, you'll be able to find out where to get every single one of these bottles. Cheers, everyone.